Hey, this is Nikki, and today I want to show you how to make one of my most popular tutorials I've ever done. It's the candy dish. This one has been requested by more people, and I used to keep step outs for it up on the counter at the quilt shop because people were always asking about it. It was one of my fastest ones to do and show people. This is a new version. I've kind of played and changed it. I'll show you. But it's great to use your leftover layer cake squares to make this one, and the sun is really bright, so don't mind my squinting. But I wanted to have good lighting for you today doing this tutorial. So it's great to use your leftover layer cake squares to make this. It just takes 2 layer cake squares and a piece of fusible fleece, and you can use buttons, but I'm going to show you another way to do it without using buttons. So fast, fun project. Take those leftover layer cake squares or go get that fabric you love and cut some squares out of it. Non-directional works best for this project because we are going to have things going both up and down. So you're going to take 2 layer cake squares and place them pretty to pretty with a piece of fusible fleece on the back of one of them. Okay, so 2 layer cake squares. Then what you're going to do is you're going to sew all the way around. So you can see my 2 squares. I kind of left it so you can see inside. Okay, so you're going to sew all the way around. Now, a tip I learned from a friend of mine was what I call the Jilly tip. Her name was Jilly. You sew onto the fabric and then start sewing around, and then when you get back to the end, you sew off of the fabric. That makes it where you turn it, it will naturally want to turn those edges under. Another thing I like to do is when I'm in my corners, I can show you right here, I like to sew up to the corner, turn 45 degrees, take 2 to 3 stitches, then turn another 45 and finish off my seam. Instead of doing a right angle, this makes my corners actually poke out more pointy than if I did a 90-degree turn. Try it, you'll like it. All right, I also reduce the bulk on my corners before I turn it. So instead of just cutting the tip off, I actually reduce the bulk on both sides. So there's less to have to cram up into that little corner there. All right, so after you turn it right side out, you're going to take it and you're going to press it at the iron and top stitch all the way around your whole square. Now you won't be able to really tell where that opening was because it turns in so nicely. You give it a good press, you top stitch it, it's great. I did a 3.0 stitch length on my top stitching, so it's not teeny tiny, it's just a nice top stitch all the way around. Now what you're going to do next is you're going to decide what you want to be the inside and what you want to be the outside. You're going to fold the inside in, of course, and we're going to fold it in half, okay? So we're going to fold in half. We're going to use our ruler here, and we're going to measure 2 inches up and 2 inches over. All right, so 2 inches up and 2 inches over. So we're gonna make a little mark here and make a little mark here. All right, so I'll do that real quick, then I'll show you. I'm using my Chocoline pencil from Clover. It's like a roller and it's fabulous. I've had this one for so long, I love it. So after I make my 2 marks on there, you'll see my 2 marks. They might be a little hard to see on this batik. I'm going to connect my marks with a line, and that's going to be my sewing line. I think you can see that line there. Okay, so I marked 2 inches up, 2 inches over, and then I drew a line to connect those marks, and I'm going to sew on that line. I'm going to use a pin to simulate sewing. Okay, I've done that on both sides. I've already got my line on the other side right here. I pre-drawed that one a moment ago. Okay, so I'm going to sew on those lines. Then I'm going to take my bag and I'm going to grab it apart and fold to get the other 2 sections. So same thing again, measure with my ruler, 2 inches up, 2 inches over, make a mark. Okay, so let me do that so you can see. 2 inches up, 2 inches over. I got to where I almost sang it. I said it so many times. But people ask me this one all the time. Hey, can you show me that candy dish? And I know people like Guilds made them for everybody in the guild and put little treats in them. I know people who made them at Christmas time and put a little bag of cookies, homemade cookies in them. If you make homemade Christmas candy, I mean, this is perfect. what a great little gift that somebody can use all year long. It's perfect size to set by the door and hold your keys in it. Gotta find my 2-inch line on here. Whew. This little ruler's got so many little marks on. I'm like, which line do I want? So it's great just for anything. I actually have one sitting there by my sewing machine holding wonder clips in it. So I like it for that purpose. And then I also have another one sitting in my bathroom that collects my earrings and stuff. And then every so often I go put them back in my jewelry box, but kind of just collects them up until then. Okay, so I've sewn on those 2 lines now, right? And I use the pin to simulate that. Then all you're gonna do is just kind of go to the table after you've sewn them and I just squish it down, okay? I squish it down, then you're gonna fold down all your sides, okay? You start to see the candy dish appear, right? Here's my candy dish is starting to appear, right? Okay, so now it looks like this, okay? So I could put a pin there to hold those. I can sew a button to hold that down, but I'm gonna show you a different way I finished it. So on this one here, I had seen where you squish those sides down and look how cool they look. So here's the side piece right now, how it sticks out. You just take it and you squish it like this. And then I took it to the sewing machine and I just sewed right there in that little, where you can see the seam. I just sewed right on top of this. So on the back side, it's on the seam. I just, little tiny stitch right there. I did on all 4 sides. So you can see just a teeny tiny stitch. I did it in blue so you could hopefully see it. But then they're squished down. And then instead of sewing a button on it, I just pinned these sides down using my pins. And then I just put it on a sewing machine and I sewed a 1/4 inch around the top with that base stitch. It holds the flaps down. And then I've got those little pieces and it's just, I think it's a little clean look and I didn't have to sew buttons on it. But if you love buttons, this is a great thing to use up some fun buttons and sew them on those flaps. That's another way to use like grandma's button box and make these for each one of your kids or grandkids, and you know, use grandma's buttons on it, maybe some shirt grandma used to always wear, and they have a piece of her always, or grandpa too. So there's so many great uses for this, but I love this little squish method and I hope you like it too. Thanks for watching my video and I hope you make lots of these and give them away to many people. Like and share.